Hey everybody, I think I got the sand shrimp thing figured out. So what I've created here, and it's a creation, all right. I hope it works. It's either going to work or I'm going to come in here one day and all the water's going to be on the floor. But what I finally decided to do was go with a sump filter. Because I brought the original table in here and set it up with just the regular external filter here. And the nitrites were just out of control. I couldn't bring them down, and I still don't really understand why that was, but it just didn't work. I just could not control the chemistry of the water and keep it right. But I've got that tank at home in my garage, which is just like this one. And those shrimp in there are on 16 weeks now, and they're beautiful. Not a problem with them, and with hardly any filtration. And the water stays perfect. It's just an awesome tank. The shrimp are doing really well. Haven't had any die, other than the one I accidentally killed when I was feeding them with the tweezers, but that's a different story. But the only thing I can come up with, well, there's two variables, right? This is different water coming out of this building than what I have at home, although I think it's all city water. And the fact that the tank at home is full of sand, like this one is. I had got live sand, or sand that had been, already in water and full of bacteria, and that's what the shrimp are in. And I think it's just that sand, it's just the super filter. So I recreated the same thing here with this tank. So I've got about 6 or 8 inches of sand, and then I've got a protein skimmer, which I think is a really big deal. And you can see how much just overnight here, how much really nasty stuff has come up into this protein skimmer, which is going to be all the ammonia and all the other junk that you don't want in the water that's going to kill the shrimp. So the protein skimmer, I think, is a really big deal. Then I've got another little kind of filter here that works by, it's full of the little blocks, little cubes that the bacteria grow on, but they're constantly in motion with the air, and that's supposedly makes them a lot more productive. And so I added that in there just for some extra filtration. And then on this side I've got just a regular filter that's adding some good flow with some really good bile block material. The stuff in here that the water's flowing through, it's going to grow a lot of bacteria too. So this is just a giant bacteria factory. And on top of the external filter that I got down here, which flows into a water chiller. Now I don't think the shrimp really need chilled water, although I was a little concerned, coming up in the summer how warm it gets in here. But I'm keeping it at, well, it's at 60 degrees right now. So I'm gonna keep it at high 50s, 60, I think that's fine. I'm more concerned about all the other stuff in the water and not the shrimp. But just on the safe side, I got a water chiller. So this is a pretty complete system now. So basically what I got here, okay, the shrimp that are going to be for sale, and there's a few shrimp in here now, but it's been hard to get shrimp, so I don't have shrimp because I can't get any. But hopefully by later this week I'll have more shrimp in here. I'm going to build it up kind of slowly because I don't want to blow out the filtration system. But the way this works, okay, here's the water with the shrimp in it. Okay, the external filter is pumping water out of here into the water chiller. From the water chiller, it comes up here and dumps into the sump filter, which is above the main water here, which is opposite of the way sump filters usually work, but whatever. So this is basically a giant filter. It's a sump filter, but it's higher than the table, which is kind of weird, but it works. So the water flows in here, and I've got live rock and some plants and algae, all good stuff for filtration, and a lot of sand. Right, so sand's a big deal. And you look in here, the shrimp are in there. There's, I think I can't remember, maybe a dozen shrimp in there, and they're all buried down in there. And boy, they hit that water, they get right in there. It's pretty cool to watch. And they're digging around in there, and they make their little volcanoes, and that whole process of just watching them, especially I've been watching them a long time, in the tank at home, where how they completely disrupt their whole environment. You can see why they, some people say they're so destructive. Well, they're doing what they do, kind of like earthworms feeding as they're tunneling through the sand and making a whole lot of disturbance, which in this situation is great in an aquarium like this, because if they weren't digging through there and creating all that disturbance and aerating the water, this would develop anaerobic bacteria pretty quickly, being so deep. So, that was one thing I was worried about, but it hasn't been a problem at all because the shrimp are digging around in there and aerating the sand so well. So it works really well. So from this water then, this is an overflow box. So the water goes into the overflow box and is siphoned through these tubes, through just, siphoning, suction, right down into the overflow box and out into the table and then back through. So it's a circulating system between the two tanks here, and it's working, and I think it's working really well. So I'm kind of excited about that because I really didn't know if it was going to work or not. But so it's been a really fun thing to do, and hopefully now I'm going to be able to fill this up with shrimp and always have shrimp. That was the goal. And so the next thing I'm kind of curious about is that going into spring and early summer here, the shrimp are coming in with eggs, and I don't know, we'll see if any ever hatch. I really don't know much about the life cycle of the shrimp. It's hard to find any research on it. I've looked a little bit. If anybody knows anything about the complete life cycle or how the egg hatching process happens. I know what happens with freshwater shrimp. I've had a lot of baby freshwater shrimp, like cherry shrimp and those types of shrimp. I've got a tank at home, and they have babies, and no problem. I know how that process works, and these guys carry their eggs in a similar way, but I'm not sure do they hatch under the sand or exactly what they do. I have no idea. So, it'll be interesting to see. But there's 3 or 4 or more females in here with eggs right now, and I really don't have any idea what's going to happen. But so you're in the Woodland, Washington area. Come on here to shop, Angler West Tackle Shop here. It's in Davidson Avenue in Woodland, downtown Woodland, and take a look. It's kind of cool, So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great day, catching some fish if you do that sort of thing, and we'll be talking to you soon, hopefully.